So what happens sometimes with guys on the autism spectrum, some of you will relate to this and others maybe not so much. I wouldn't say that what I'm getting ready to talk about is prominent, but it certainly occurs enough that it's worthy of mention. Keep in mind that ASD level 1 is a developmental disorder, so developmentally the guy on the autism spectrum is relatively immature compared to his chronological age. And what often happens, or at least what I see in working with these guys and with couples, is you have a wounded child, and he will tend to vacillate back and forth between these two modes of the wounded child. There is one version of him that is the wounded child that feels put down and disrespected and disapproved of and shamed and ridiculed and chastised. And this particular mode of being in the wounded child frame of mind, he feels like he's being looked down on and criticized. Then he may vacillate back to the other end of this wounded child spectrum, so to speak, where now he fears being abandoned, in this case by the NT wife, especially if she has threatened separation or divorce. He may get very compliant. He may be very apologetic. He may even be tearful and cry. He may even beg her to some degree not to leave. And then she may think, well, I guess he does love me. I guess he does care about me. And it's not long before he flips back to the wounded child that now feels criticized, disapproved of, chastised, looked down on. And this is when you see the bad behavior in him, so to speak, where he is doing versions of meltdown and shutdown and not following through with your requests, mounting a defense instead of listening to his NT wife to understand, being very defensive in general. Then when she's had it and set some hard boundaries and scares him, then he flips back over to the wounded child that fears abandonment and rejection and loneliness, and then he gets real compliant. So what happens in this case is there's this back and forth dynamic where for one period of time it's like, I am feeling like you're criticizing me, I'm not going to cooperate, instead I'm going to be defensive. And then he will flip over to, I will cooperate and I will try to meet your needs, and please don't leave me. So on the one end it's fear of being controlled, then he may flip over to the other end and it's the fear of being abandoned. This occurs enough in my practice that it's worthy of mention, and this is something that can be worked on in therapy. So that's the good news, but it is definitely something that needs to be done on a very case-by-case individual basis.